Welcome to Covers His Puck Props, where one of us is severely underdressed and one is looking like an absolute stallion. 14-year NHL vet Carlo Colaiacovo, who has the hairline of a brisk 26-year-old. I know you're a hat man, but if I were you, I would not be wearing a hat with that rig, bud.
Really? I appreciate the compliment, man.
Yeah,
I
I heard
kind
you
of
talking
hate
about your
hair.
hat.
I like your look.
Yeah, it's the look because we keep winning. I'll change it if
Oh,
it
I
doesn't.
love it. I love it. If it ain't broke,
We're
don't
winning.
fix it, right?
2.65 units last night. The only thing we didn't get was the power play point from, oh God, who did we have?
Paterka.
And he got the goal. And I'm like, oh, was it on the power play? No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
But plus 20.42 units in March alone. Happy everybody's tailing there in the chat. Good day to everybody, opening day baseball. But we got a big day here. We got NBA picks following this. So we got to get going. And we start off by telling you all odds coming via Sports Interaction. Washington, Toronto. The Joseph Woll era is here. And I am hammering overs until we see something from Woll and this defense, who could be without Morgan Riley again. Joel Edmondson's out. We got some ugly PKs, both sides. But let's get the over 6.5 at even money. And while we're here, let's get Domi for an assist at plus 140. I believe his point is minus 120, but the man's just going to feed the man who needs to continue to score, and that's Austin Matthews, who needs a goal, needs to score every game going out to hit that 70 mark. We've seen Charlie Lindgren kind of fall apart. He's allowed 8 goals in his last 2 games. 2 assists for Domi. Handsome man. Plus 700.
Okay. What?
Yeah, but
wow.
Yeah, but might be a little small ass ladder on old Ty Jr., I think.
Seems very enticing. Very enticing.
But the thing is, like, with the Woll play, Toronto right now is a dead over team. The offense can erase those deficits, and we've seen the play with a lead also conductive of over hockey.
Mm-hmm.
With how everything's going, with the blue line, with the goaltending, with the penalty kill issue still here, is Toronto a team to back on the overs until we see something different from Woll?
Absolutely. I totally like where you're going with that. You talk about, teams and their streaks, right? When a team's feeling it defensively, like we have for most of the season, with teams like Winnipeg and Minnesota and even Chicago at times, with a dart out, fade the unders or tail the under, sorry. And with the Maple Leafs in this case, look, it was a 7-3 game last time they played them. A lot of goals get scored there. I would imagine that Washington, with the intensity and the urgency they're going to bring tonight, you can count on them potting in a couple. But this Maple Leafs team, regardless of the results and, regardless of that one-off game that they had on Sunday in Carolina, where the game should have been probably more than the score indicated, they're still finding ways to provide offense without a guy like Mitch Marner in the lineup. So I like the over a lot in this game. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, even money. Hopefully we'll see that thing creep back up. Everybody there in the chat offering their advice as well on a giant 14-game slate. Chikrin, looking at Chikrin plays, Thomas Chabot. Oh, surprise. We play him 30 minutes a game. He's hurt again. Ta-da. Well, it's Chikrin time. So he's back.
It's true. Yeah.
And there's some super fades down the late stretch. I mean, we get the Seattle-Anaheim matchup again. That top line of Bjorkstrand, Beniers, and Tolvanen, I believe, is on that top line. They're also playing PP1. There's someone to target. Nashville gets a great matchup versus San Jose. Joel Eriksson Ek could be back. That's good. So wait to fire on that before you load up on that. And then the other one, obviously, I believe Arizona. And why can't I think of the Arizona opponent? They're playing late. I'll figure it out. We're there somewhere.
Arizona is playing Nashville.
Yeah. Okay. And the Nashville line, the Riley Nyquist Forsberg line, I think you can get them all to get a point for plus 300, which makes no sense, which is a great price. Yeah, it's a great price.
What about a Roman Josi power play point? What is that paying right now?
Oh, we'll get to it. I know everybody's got to get going. I'll get to it when we go down the list here because we're touching on a lot of that. We go to Chicago, Ottawa. This is where we talk about price. Like Ottawa last night, Well, I didn't like Ottawa, but I liked Ottawa at plus 115. It actually went the other way, closed at 120, and it was just a one-sided. It was the best game they probably played all year. Well, guess what?
Well, they caught Buffalo off again, a slow start. Remember we talked about them
West
coming
Coast
off
bad teams. I think we should add the caveat of bad teams coming from the West Coast, right?
Yeah,
we saw Tampa Bay play a better game coming off the West Coast, but they also got to rest two guys who I think it was more maintenance with the Hedman and Point thing we saw because they drew back into the lineup last night. But Chicago money line, bud. We talk about these, and these are things you love. Why is this one team favored more? Are you reaching out to get Ottawa at minus 200 on the second game of a traveling back-to-back? No. Chicago money line plus 160. It's starting to fall. It was plus 165 when I started writing it. But like I said, I love the Sens yesterday, but not a chance I take them on this price. Ottawa's riding a 3-game winning streak, and they have just one 4-game streak on the year. And their success so far has been largely in part because of Jonas Carpasalo, but he played last night, and he's already played 3 games in 5 days. They did play him back-to-back, which was odd over the last 3 games, but his workload's pretty heavy. Anton Forsberg, 6 starts, 4.39 goals against. You've seen him, 8.58 save percentage, 4+ goals in 4 of those 6 starts. Thomas Chabot's out, as Adam mentioned. Chicago quietly 6-4 in their last 10, looking for their first 3-game winning streak. Should Ottawa be a 200 home favorite versus anybody on the second back-to-back?
No, even with all the things you pointed out about, the streaks that both teams are on right now, even in just a normal matchup, Ottawa should not be favored by this much against Chicago. Because Ottawa, they haven't deserved the right to be looked at as this type of dominant team against a Chicago team that right now is playing with house money, right? They got nothing to lose. A lot of younger players are playing. Bedard probably wants to finish the year on a strong note to solidify his Calder case. And I just think there's so much more upside here for a team like Chicago that has been feeling it lately versus a team like Ottawa that's been so inconsistent this year.
Yeah, so do you think this 3-game, which would be a season-long 3-game winning streak for Chicago, actually means something to this club?
I don't think it means much. At the end of the day, if you're a coach and you're a player on the team, you're just making sure that you're trying to bring the best effort every night. And if those best efforts lead to results, it's an extra bonus.
All right, so Chicago money line there, and pairing that with, why not just continue to take Philip Kurashev for a point at minus 120, minus 125, even minus 130. Every shift with Bedard, who's minus 120, minus 200 for a point. Facing an Ottawa PK that we highlighted last night that didn't give up a goal, but they're still 28th at 71% in the month.
Right.
Kurashev, 15 points, last 12 games, 6 on the power play, plus 310 for a power play point if you're looking greedy. And out of nowhere, Chicago, number 5 power play in March, at 29%. So
wow,
these are things. Yeah,
teeing up Bedard, I see, eh?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you? But I believe that line. I believe Granato is now up to that top line on 5-on-5. So it's not Ty Johnson. And it's not
Granato. Donato.
Yes. I got my Natos wrong, bud. Let's Chicago, Ottawa in the bag. Let us know what you think about that. If you're watching right now, seeing some eyes on the screen, hit that like button. Keep producer Mick happy as he goes into his Easter break to, find his eggs, big mini egg guy or what?
Me, no.
That's shut her down. Shut down the production. No, lie to me, Carlo.
I'm not even like those Easter bunny, chocolate guy. It's too rich, those chocolates. Just give me an Aero bar and I'm fine.
Yeah, give me a bitter cooking chocolate bar.
Milk chocolate. Yeah. Give me some milk chocolate.
98% cacao. That's what I want. Oh, you old fashioned man. Speaking of old fashioned, I don't know. I got nothing for it. Bad segue. Anaheim, Seattle. Justin Schultz does not have any markets except for a power play point and his shot market. And his shot market is not something I'm looking for, but might be something worth because Anaheim is. We've bet it again. We've bet it a lot. Fading these bad teams with defensemen. It's been profitable for the majority of the last month and a half. And Justin Schultz, because of the injury to Vince Dunn, he jumps into that PP1 spot. And he's paying plus 450. Might be 475. I might have inputted that wrong. I think I have 475. I'll take the 450. Price breaks at 400.
You do have 475 in your notes. So
I know, yeah, and I think it is 475. But we're going a half unit on there. This is a rematch of the game on Tuesday that Seattle won handedly 4-0. They got out to the early lead. They didn't really pad it, but they did score on a power play. Schultz got the assist. The Anaheim power play, 32nd in the league at 62% this month. They're trash. 17 power play goals in their last 10 games. I mean, talk to me about this. Schultz, contract year, veteran guy, getting an opportunity late in the season, maybe to pad some stats. You know what I mean? Get a little more money in the contract. This is a veteran guy who will get another contract. What's going through this guy's mind kind of in this spot? He's like, I need to take advantage of this.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially when I look at Seattle and Vince Dunn is probably the number one guy that most people would point out to be the power play quarterback. Look, at this time of the year in a season that Seattle's having, you're just trying to make the best of it with the games remaining and maybe pad out the stats, but more importantly, leave a mark on the game that you're playing for either the team that you're on or for whatever team is going to be looking at you in regards to Schultz. So it's been a weird season in Seattle. Obviously a letdown from the season they had last year, but there's still a lot of hockey to be played. And if I know players the way I know players, they always want to finish on a good note. So for Justin Schultz, the fact that he's getting an opportunity here, you definitely want to leave an imprint in the opportunity you're getting, because you just if you don't, you might not get it again.
Yeah, and 475 is a great price, and taking anything. He's the only defenseman on this team that you can do any prop with, because
and you're taking advantage of a special team market, right? Where Anaheim's PK is just so bad.
Yeah. But if you're looking to stack anything, stack that top line: Matty Beniers, Ollie Bjorkstrand, and Tolvanen. I believe you can get all those guys for around plus 300 as well. They almost all had 2 points in the last game on Tuesday. Darren Falk in the chat jumps over. I like when people get creative with their bets, Carlo. Chicago puck line ladder, plus 1.5, plus 0.5, minus 0.5, which is basically the money line, and then the puck line.
You can ladder that?
Oh, sure, if you want. You can get the plus 1.5, which right now it's Sports Interaction is
correlated.
Well, no, but just one unit, or 1 unit for the 1.5.
You can't put them in a parlay.
No.
Okay.
I mean, the plus 1.5 is a little pricey, looking like minus 170. That's a tough one to do, but like the plus, I don't know, regulation win, money line, regulation, puck line wouldn't be a terrible little run, because I mean, those are some big numbers. And like you said, if Chicago went into that game and won 5-2 with an empty net goal, would you be like, wow, what an unpredictable turn of events for an Ottawa team that looked good last night?
Yeah, I would definitely say that.
Look at his interest. He's like, I see the wheels turning in your head. You're like, damn. Okay, I gotta write that down, and that's going in the account.
Make a mental note. Write that down.
Yes. All right, so that's one of the late games there. The Minnesota San Jose game, like I said, Eriksson Ek is likely to return. He was at practice, so he would jump back into that top line with Kaprizov and Boldy, which would move some pieces. I know we've been on Hartman. I know we've been on Rossi, but they would be delegated down to the second line and maybe PP2. So wait to see what you do before firing and fading San Jose, because that's been a gold mine of late. Let's go to Florida. Islanders at Florida. Two teams on losing skids, not playing great hockey. But Evan Rodriguez, he's like Val Nichushkin light, basically. They're kind of the same guy. I don't even say light. They're basically the same guy. Just big, strong wingers who shoot the puck. Let's go. Erod, over 2.5 shots. Check out that price, plus 155. He's playing on the top line. They brought Tarasenko up with Barkov, so he's playing with two pass-first guys. He's 10-7 to the over on this number without that role. This is just such a gigantic price for a guy who sits third on the team in shots on goal per 60. Islanders have been better at suppressing shots, but on the season, they're still 30th in shots allowed on the road. We also get Florida's generous scorekeeping, which can always be nice. He did have 5 shot attempts
Really?
versus Boston. I know that's a nice one to have. But here we are, a Florida team, 1-4 straight up in their last 5. Islanders in a free fall, 1-7 straight up in their last 8. That only win obviously came in a game that I bet against them. Right? Yeah. What was that? The Winnipeg game.
Of course.
Yeah.
Is that the way it always is supposed to happen?
Yeah, you're looking at it, you're like, wow, these guys are shit. Yeah, I bet on them that one game. They weren't shit.
No, but I do love how you found value in this play where you're taking advantage of a guy playing with, a top line players, which means he's going to get top line minutes, which obviously exposes him to more opportunities.
Yeah, but you see, I mean, Florida's 1-4 straight up in the last 5, and the Islanders, like I said, free fall, 1 win in their last 8. Obviously, Florida coming off that tough game versus Boston. Is this a spot like Florida gets on track before the Islanders do? I know we've hyped up the Islanders, but they might just be shit.
Well, the Islanders are one of those teams that I'm very close to falling off that bandwagon that I've jumped on, weeks ago, because it just seems like every game I continue to say, okay, this is the spot. Okay, this is the spot. And then they come up with a stinker. And then they play the Jets and I'm like, oh, they're going to lose this one for sure. Finally go against the other way. And they end up having their best games of the season. So this is a hard one for me to handicap because I still really believe in Florida and I want to believe in the Islanders, but it's hard. It's hard.
All right, Darren Folks brings up a great point. He says, where's the honey do the taxes take the kids angle that worked in Buffalo last night when you return home from a road trip? I got a different one here. And Carlo will absolutely bring his expertise to it. Columbus at Pittsburgh. We're going, I don't think we've ever hit Crosby much, but we're going Crosby for 2 points at plus 155. The man's an absolute stud. But this is a spot where Columbus, 5-game, this is the last game of a 5-game road trip. Okay? They went 0-4 straight up so far in the road trip. They've been outscored 20-8. Tarasov or whatever the other goalie's name is. Yeah, he's let in 4 goals in back-to-back games after looking decent. So he's fallen back to earth, which is great. But Columbus is doing that trip where they were out west. They were doing Colorado, Vegas, Arizona. And this is the one on the way back home. Okay. And then they're home for 5 games.
Yeah.
Like, is this a game where you're like, shit, I got to get home. I'm getting stuff ready to get home. This is just on the way of handing off the kids. This is the stop before it. You're dreading it. This is not and it's the second last road trip of the season for a team that can't win. This is not a great spot. Tell me it's not a great spot.
No, it's definitely not a great spot, but even just not a great spot, it's not a great matchup for the Blue Jackets, who have been struggling mightily down the stretch here. But yeah, considering that they're this close to home, some guys may be looking forward to get to home. Other guys will be like, no, let's keep the road trip longer because I could use a couple extra days. But look, Pittsburgh had a really impressive win the other night against the Carolina Hurricanes, which I think surprised many.
Sidney Crosby had an impressive win. Yeah.
And he did too. And maybe all this talk about him and his future in Pittsburgh is probably really pissing him off. But Columbus, they played in Arizona the other night. It was the Josh Doan game, that breakout game where he had two goals in his NHL debut, and Columbus dressed a lot of really young players. So could this be a letdown game for Pittsburgh, knowing that they're coming off a real high against one of the best teams in the league? Yeah, possibly, but I could also see goals being scored, and a lot of them being scored both ways.
And if it is a letdown game script helps us out with Crosby being
even
on
better.
ice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not trying to pick a side here. We're focusing on Crosby.
No, and you mentioned Columbus dressing a lot of young guys. They're starting to get more injuries again on the wing. They obviously traded Jack Roslovic, which opened things up. But everybody who's kind of jumped into that role, in Marchenko, Nylander, they're questionable. Adam Boqvist is out, so the defense is getting a little ugly too. As you're laughing, I might have to jump over to.
I'm laughing at the comment by Parker Smith. Tarasov is going to see more rubber than a dead skunk on the Trans-Canada Highway.
Well done. If you're looking to take advantage of that, Columbus allows the most shots to opposing defensemen. If you're flipping a coin between, I don't know who to take, between Chris Letang or Erik Karlsson? The answer is always Erik Karlsson, but it's priced in. But it's a good matchup for opposing defensemen. But Crosby over 1.5 points plus 155. He has a 3-goal, 1-assist game already versus Columbus this year. 40 career games versus Columbus, 20 goals, 37 assists. Those are big numbers. And I mean, Pittsburgh is 9-1 straight up in the last 10 meetings. They've scored 5+ goals in 7 of those 9 wins. So they certainly feel it versus a Columbus team who's I can already hear those calls to the wife. Babe, I'm almost home. I'll be home soon. It's a couple more
you know
hours.
what? One more day. I promise I'll help you with everything when I get home.
Yeah, I'll a couple more hours and I'll be there to help out with little Joshy. I'll be there. Yeah, no, it's a bad spot. And then there's going to be another bad spot. I was looking at the schedule. They have a 5-game home stretch, and then they go on the road for like 5 games to finish the season before going home. So there's a few spots there to fade Columbus. Not that you're getting much value fading them basically the entire season. So that's kind of what we got today. It's a big slate. We got lots of hockey. We got the holidays coming up tomorrow, but another show tomorrow because we are dedicated DGens, and that's what we want to do, find some value. And there's a good, is there a good slate tomorrow? Probably 2 games. It's a Friday.
I think it's a 2-game slate again tomorrow, yeah.
Now we crush those small slates, bud. Let's do a quick recap and get your pretty face on the way. So I know you got some commitments. Washington, Toronto, over 6.5, even money. Expecting that price to creep up. Joe Woll needs to show something before we can trust anything on the under with Toronto. And then we got Max Domi for an assist plus 140. I mean, Austin's going to want to go for a gun here. And you got to think something's up with the Matthews versus Ovi game. I mean, both of those guys to score 2+ goals in that game is like 50-1. Not a bad pizza Thursday night bet there. But Domi, an assist plus 140. Maybe a little more on the 2 assists, but at plus 700. We'll put it in the official play when we post this to my Twitter account. Chicago money line plus 160. Don't bet Ottawa at minus 200. No. Don't do it. Philip Kurashev riding shotgun for a point minus 120. That's the play basically every night until it hits minus 135. Schultz looking for contract, looking for opportunity. Looking to continue to fade an Anaheim PK that sits 32nd in the league at 67%, plus 475 half unit for a power play point. Evie Rodriguez jumps up to that top line. Barkov's passing the puck. Tarasenko's passing the puck, and he's just got a great shooting matchup versus the Islanders and a great price of plus 155, which is the main deciding factor. And Crosby, like you said, we're betting on those quads tonight. The guy can't even sit down properly. Plus 155 for 2 points against the Columbus team that Pittsburgh's owned consistently year after year, and a Columbus team that he's stacked points against. Let's do it there, pal. Appreciate everybody there in the chat. Big slate. Holidays coming. Don't forget to hide those eggs in good spots where you're going to remember. You never want to find the eggs in May because
it's for the kids 40, anyways. It's not for us.
You'll still eat them, but yeah. As producer Mick chimes in as he always does. Big thanks to him. Hit that like button on your way out. Leave a comment. Let us know what you're riding. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know on a scale of 1 to 10. The man to my right. How sharp does he look for a Thursday heading into the weekend? Attaboy. Thank everybody there.
We're going. We're sharp, bro. We're sharp just like our picks.
Ooh, yeah. Put it on a shirt. Put it on a shirt. Let's go. Opening day baseball. Let's get some wins.
Enjoy.
All right. Lead us out, pal.